welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you are here for another fun video. So today we are on Vlogtober day number 4. It is Graveyard Ghouls prompt day. So we will be getting to our movie here in just a couple minutes. But I really want to start out today's episode by giving 2 very special shout outs. The first one is going to go to my wonderful longtime friend, Mike Trowbridge, who is the creator of my new intro. You guys saw it yesterday and you've just seen it again now, but I received the file from him yesterday afternoon and I had already uploaded my video information, so I didn't have a time to verbally shout him out yesterday, but I did want to take some time and just give a very big thank you for an amazing new intro. It is so cool. It's everything I wanted. Everything I wanted to have represented. It's amazing. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being so selfless and always thinking of me. You're always thinking of me, and I'm just so grateful for you. Mike also did the videography for my wedding, and it was absolutely extraordinary. So I knew if he was going to be working on this intro, it would be in the most capable of hands, and he just completely knocked it out of the park. I'm so grateful. And eventually I'm going to upgrade my the video technology that I'm using, because I'm only able to upload in 720p, which degrades all of my videos, and I see that when I look at the playbacks on YouTube. I'm not too sure which video software I should get yet, and I don't want to pay for something until I'm more, certain with what I get. So the quality of it may not look as good as it should, but I promise you we're working on getting that ironed out. So you'll also notice that I may look a little brighter, may sound a little sharper today. My amazing husband, Rob, decided to get me an early anniversary present and bought me a vlogging kit. So it came with a handheld mic, a tripod, a new microphone, and a new light. So hopefully I look maybe a little better, sound a little crisper. So I'm just blown away. Two wonderful surprises in a 24-hour period from my wonderful friend Mike and my lovely husband. So I feel like I'm gonna gush. I'm so grateful for you both. My gosh. So very big thank you to these 2 wonderful men in my life. You guys are the best. So on to the video. The first thing I want to do is play my song of the day, and it has to do with The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And I'm talking about the 1949, I think it is, 49, let's see. Yeah, 1949, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, that was on it was a dual release with Mr. Toad's Wild Adventure. So you had those 2 movies presented by Disney. So it was basically Ichabod and Mr. Toad. But I think today you can buy each movie separately. So you can just buy The Wind in the Willows or, Mr. Toad's Adventures, and you buy The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. So I always thought The Wind in the Willows was very, very boring. I mean, it was fine, but it just wanted to get to the Headless Horseman. That was where it was at. So when I was a kid, I would usually just fast forward the VCR to get to the Headless Horseman. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but yeah, so this song is from there. It is by Bing Crosby, because basically Bing Crosby was the entire Legend of Sleepy Hollow. He narrated it and he performed all the songs in it, but this is my favorite song from that movie, so I'm gonna play you a little bit of it now.
I went to heaven at Jamboree. They break it up with fiendish glee. Ghosts are bad, but the one that's cursed is the Headless Horseman. He's the worst.
Such a typical Bing Crosby song, It's got his wonderful little croon that he has and his great inflections. Absolutely love it. It is not available on Spotify. They have that darkened out for some reason. But I think that you can get it on Amazon Music. And like I said, I'm not too sure what iTunes provides, but you may be able to luck out with that respect too. Or you can just, spend 99 cents and buy the song because it's really good. So that is my recommendation for today, The Headless Horseman by Bing Crosby. So next, I'm going to get into my book recommendation. So today's is another nonfiction book. This one is called American Hauntings, and it is by Mary Beth Sammons and Robert Edwards. And it is this little book right here. This is another one of those little mini paperbacks, that are really kind of easy reads. This one retails for $9.95 in the US, and I think I bought it. It was one of those Barnes & Noble discount books, so I think I might have spent $3.99 or something on it. This one was released back in 2005, and it was a Barnes & Noble publishing. So I'm thinking that's exactly what I did, was I just bought it through Barnes & Noble's discount section. But I read through the whole thing, I think, probably in a couple hours. There's over 100 little tiny tales about different haunts going on throughout the United States. So they take you to different theaters, to hotels, to desert, hotels, and a lot of different places. So some places you've heard of before, some places you might not have, but they go through, big towns, little towns. This one's in Livermore, Pennsylvania. And let's see. This one is in Bennington, Vermont, and Staten Island, New York, and Harpo Studios and the Clark Street Bridge in Chicago. So if you know about that one, that's kind of important. But that was about the Eastland disaster. If you've not heard about the Eastland disaster, you should stop this video and go look that up right now, because that was one of the biggest losses of life in one time. And it happened, in the middle of the day in Chicago's harbor. So kind of crazy. It wasn't even in the harbor. It was in the river. They were parked, along the Clark Street Bridge, and the boat capsized. So it's a huge story, and you didn't hear a whole lot about that growing up in your history books, but it is a fascinating story and one you should definitely look into. So anyway, but this book kind of goes into all of these fabulous tales, and I'm such a sucker for this stuff. So, this Travel Channel, Most Haunted Places and Most Terrifying Places on Earth, I love those shows, and this is so up the alley of that show. So if you enjoy watching that every Halloween season, you will love this book. So check out American Hauntings. So my movie recommendation today, I only have one today, and I could have probably done another one, but I didn't have enough time to really research it as much as I wanted to. I was going to do Night of the Living Dead, but I think I might push that to a later date just so I can get some more history and things going with that. But my movie recommendation for today is the 1992 movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So this was the precursor to the television series that followed it with Sarah Michelle Gellar. So original Buffy was Christy Swanson, and this is my Buffy. I watched this movie when I was a kid, absolutely loved it, and then I just couldn't believe that Sarah Michelle Gellar was Buffy. I couldn't get behind it. So I've tried to watch the series even as early as like a couple weeks ago. I watched an episode or two, and I just couldn't keep up with it. I know people are going to be mad, and they're going to go, you need to revisit it because it's so good. And I'm sure it is. But there's so many things in the world right now to watch that I feel like I get oversaturated with, you need to watch this, and you should watch this. And if something doesn't grab my attention right away, it's very hard for me to want to devote any more time to it. So I promise at some point I will revisit Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show. But as of right now, we're just sticking with the movie, and I'll watch that 100 times. But this movie, it stars Luke Perry and Christy Swanson, David Arquette, Rutger Hauer, and Paul Reubens. I hope you know who Paul Reubens is. Paul Reubens is Pee Wee Herman. So if you were a 90s, 80s kid like me, you absolutely know who Pee Wee Herman is. And it also has Donald Sutherland, who plays Merrick in it. So it is such a good, funny movie. All the main characters were perfectly cast. Hilary Swank plays this awful, stuck-up, snobby girl, and I just... because Buffy, in essence, at the start, is a very self-absorbed, self-entitled brat of a woman that kind of has her whole life turned upside down when she meets Merrick, and he tells her that she is a vampire slayer. So the progression of the film from when it starts and Buffy's at the movie theater and meets Luke Perry's character Pike and David Arquette's character, who gets killed off pretty quick, but he comes back. Don't worry. Again, like I said, this is a it's such a masterpiece of filmmaking. I absolutely love it. Also, funnily enough, this was the first movie of another major Hollywood player, Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He played a opposing basketball player. So if you watch the movie now, it's a fun little Easter egg to see him in there. But it is comedy gold. There are so many lines, so many action sequences. There's a spoiler, a part where Paul Rubens gets his arm ripped off. And it's just such a good movie. So, if you have like 92 minutes, it's not a very long movie, you should definitely recommend you watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because you will not be disappointed. I know my cousin Erin, I think, just recently watched it and she absolutely loved it. So you can still watch it in 2020 and beyond and still find it humorous. I promise you. It is really, it's held up over the years. So that is my movie recommendation. Her major moment where she finds out she's the Slayer is it happens in the graveyard. So that's why it was my choice for today. I guess I should mention that. But she sits on a grave and the person that was buried comes back. So that was the major turning point for Buffy, and that's why that made it onto my list today. So I'm going to move on to my pick for TV show. And TV show is going to be Goosebumps. So Goosebumps is actually still on streaming, so you can watch it on Netflix. I think they have the whole original series. I think there's maybe 4 or 5 seasons, and it is just it's 90s to the extreme. It's good. It hasn't held up as well as some things have, but it is worth a watch, guys, because if you were a fan of those books growing up like I was, you'll definitely appreciate their take on the Haunted Mask and, Say Cheese and Die and The Haunted Dummy and Welcome to Dead House and all of these wonderful books that, stick with you. Like I said, if you were a kid and you read those books, I know you understand how I feel, but they were so definitive and very they just kept you wanting to read. You would get done with one and you'd immediately want to pick up the next one. So R.L. Stine was kind of a genius in that respect, in creating something that was so consumer worthy, like we just wanted to absorb it as much as possible. So I still, every once in a while, if I'm bored and I've got nothing else to watch, which is very rare these days, but if I'm just wanting to watch something that's familiar to me and, will make me kind of laugh and take my mind off of something, I'll put on an episode or two of Goosebumps. So we had one of my friends over the other day and he'd brought his son. And so he and I sat in my living room and watched Goosebumps episodes. And it was awesome. It was like passing the torch. I don't have kids, so I liked being able to pass along the things that I loved growing up to the next generation. So it was a great moment. But I definitely recommend the series. There's a couple episodes that are a bit of a stinker, but like The Haunted Mask, I think The Haunted Mask is the most defining one that everybody always talks about. But the Welcome to Dead House one was always my favorite. The Night in Terror Tower was also an excellent episode. So definitely look those up. My absolute favorite, though, which isn't even very scary, you're going to laugh at me about this, but it was the Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes, where they get these, ceramic gnomes to put in their front yard, and they come to life and wreak havoc on the neighbors. I think they were cassava melons. See, the things that you remember from childhood, like, why do I remember that it was a cassava melon? I don't know. but I do. So we had an audiobook of that book on tape, and I would listen to it so many times going to bed at night. My sister could tell you she hated me so much because she just wanted to go to bed and I wanted to listen to something, and we had to share a room, and it was good times, guys. So thanks for putting up with me, Sarah. I love you. But yeah, so that's my choice today, is the Goosebumps series. Now, kids these days have a lot of options for Goosebumps, because we had in 2015, the first Goosebumps movie came out and it was critically pretty well received. And then they brought out the second Goosebumps movie in 2018. And I think that they are working on another one actually as we speak. So Goosebumps will never die. Goosebumps will be around forever. I mean, the series itself, the book series, had different amalgamations that came on and on and on. So the original book series was from 1995 to 2000, and that was, I think, 68 or so books. And then 1998 to 2000 was the Goosebumps series 2000. So they were kind of catered towards, the millennium and the new generation of books. And then 2008 to 2012, they had a series that was titled Horrorland, and they were kind of just specific to that realm of the stories. And then 2012 to 2016 was Goosebumps Most Wanted. So they brought out, I think it was kind of like a rehash of the original series, but they just keep bringing them out. I don't think we're ever going to go through a huge drought period where we don't have something new Goosebumps related coming our way. So that is my stuff for you today. So I hope that you guys are doing well and feeling healthy, and not dealing with all the craziness in the world right now, because there's so much of it still. The news is just a complete barrage of crazy every day. I feel like you wake up and go, what the heck happened now? So sometimes it's nice just to watch a video of a weird person sit in front of their camera and talk about Goosebumps and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I appreciate you guys so much for sticking with me. This is wonderful. But let's go ahead and get to tomorrow's prompt. So tomorrow's prompt is haunted buildings. So I want you to tell me about movies that either take place in a haunted building, or a haunted building is kind of a main character of some type. I'll give you an example, like Rosemary's Baby. So obviously Rosemary's Baby is the catalyst, but that building itself was kind of tantamount to the storyline. So haunted buildings is the prompt, and I will see all your lovely faces tomorrow. Bye.